terms of following the text. Three lines from the bottom, from the end of the top section, on page Chaf Aleph. The line begins, she-zehu begins Havdalah v'richuk, and then we have the parentheses. Parentheses comes in kind of in the middle, and we're going to introduce it. What we have finished, what we have come to recognize is that the keilim are formed as a result of ossiot falling out from the oil. Which means to us several things.
Did we call in?
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't record till now.
I'm saying, did we call in?
I didn't call in. Okay, sorry, I'm calling in.
We are recording.
Come on, my phone needs a replacement.
Connected to mobile device.
Okay, 1 second. Suffice.
Welcome to IDT. Welcome. At the tone, please record your name followed by the pound key.
Paltiel.
Thank you. You are now entering the conference room. To exit the conference room, you are participant number 2.
I think I'm speaking to this guy, not to this guy, right?
Yeah, this one has the mic.
Oh, okay. So this guy can
That
sit.
one's the connection.
I can sit where it sits. So as we said, we're going to be starting 3 lines from the end of the top section on page Chaf Aleph. The line begins, she-zehu begins Havdalah v'richuk. And then there is a parenthesis. And what we have reached into in the mid-sentence is that keilim are formed from the ossiot that fall out of the oil, and we explained the implication, the word fall out, which is still going to be discussed now, from the oil, and that is what creates the keilim, from what the keilim are formed. Falling out means, as we pointed out, as John Rabbi points out, falling out is the result of a clash between oil yosher and oil choizer. And as we explained it in simple terms, oil yosher senses the etzem, senses the source, and therefore it insists on presenting itself verbatim, just without any preparation, without any arguments and introductions. Here is the truth. That's oil yosher. Oil choizer stops him in his tracks and says, "But you're entering my territory. Here we don't recognize who you are. You have to introduce yourself." Thus, ossiot fall out from the oil yosher. Everybody knows what ossiot are, letters. We know what it is, but we don't really reflect and appreciate the significance of these ossiot. For one thing, just to from the start bottom up, you can have a child say Shema Yisrael, a totally ignoramus, say Shema Yisrael, because he can learn the ossiot and the words that spell out Shema Yisrael, had no idea what he's saying. That's what ossiot are. Ossiot are able to take the most supreme, subtle, the deepest thought, idea, and bring it down to a level where where you have no intelligence whatsoever. At least the intelligence has not been developed yet. And this is the response from the Oyer to this clash, to this challenge of the Rechoizer. Oh, really? You don't understand? I have a means to make you understand. What is the first thing that we teach our children? AyinBase. Which means we tell them the first thing is, you should know there is a means by which I can give you the thought that I have in mind. But first you have to learn the means and know that the idea of a means. How do you contain thoughts? Okay, I was going a little bit in a tangent. So ossiot fall out, but these ossiot are, as we said, they fall out, which means they're in disarray. All you know from the ossiot is that there is a method, a means to create a representation. But the ossiot, as such, as in that state where they fall out, do not yet form a coordinated, a meaningful presentation. Saying AyinBase, a child who learns AyinBase, for him to sit in shul when everybody is davening, his father is davening, and he is saying AyinBase, he is in perfect sync with whatever is going on. Especially if he's a step further and is able to say Kometz Alefo, he's in perfect sync. These ossiot can later be gathered in, and formed into words and sentences and paragraphs, and whereby you are able to present the whole thought. And now we're going to inside the third line from the bottom, the parentheses. We already explained earlier in Perek Ches. The ossiot that the ossiot that are part contained in the oir, who inyan his avus oir. This is the principle. This is the inyan, the concept. This of his avus oir, of the coursing up, the thickening of the oir. That is contained in the oil as a result of the fact that the oil went through the rishim. So inherent in the oil itself there is the ossiot. Even though, this is important, the oil does not need the ossiot. The oil is not based on the ossiot. The oil is self-sufficient, so it has its own verification, its own justification for being. I want to take you just a step a little bit off, and you understand the whole phenomenon here. Ossiot, as you said, and means by which we are presenting the seichel. What is the platform? Where are we presenting it? We're presenting it in a neutral ground, where it is not. Where it is not present on its own. Oil does not have a neutral ground. Oil has a source. It's never at a loss. What am I standing for? Like we said the other day, you have a group of people, you have guests by a chasana, and you approach each individual and says, "What is your connection to this event? What are you doing here?" Anyone has an explanation. Then you approach the host himself, the chosen. What are you doing over here? If you approach that, then you're totally blind. Then you don't know what's going on. If you need an explanation what the chosen is doing there, then this is what we call an idiot. So oil does not present itself through a keilim, because it sits straight, the reality of the oil as it emanates from its source, from the etzem. But inherent in the oil there are oisies. Why are the oisies in the oil? If the oil does not need that substantiation, it is an entirely different environment than where oisies come into play.
I'm sorry. We just said two opposite things. We said oil doesn't need the ossiot, and now we say ossiot are inherent in the oil.
By different, that's my question.
Ah, okay. You asking me.
I'm explaining where the oisies come into the oil. Oil doesn't need oisies. How do they come into the oil? And the answer is because this oil that we are talking about is an oil that came through the Shema. It's an oil that came after the Tzimtzum, came through the Shema.
It's Yashar.
Yeah, the oil Yashar came through the Shema. Why did it come to the Rishima? Okay, see if we can follow this. It came to the Rishima because the whole Tzimtzum was intended by the source of sources. Because he wanted that this oil should ultimately be represented on a worldly level. He wanted world. This is what we call kavanah. This is his kavanah. We don't understand what this is about. Why do you want world? But that's what his kavanah. That's what he wanted. What he intended, and therefore the oil came through the Rishima, and the Rishima left an imprint on the oil in the form of an inherent oisios, and then these oisios fall out from the oil as a result, as it goes down into a different environment, into a challenging environment, and then the oisios fall out, And then from this oasis are formed the keilim.
Why don't the Rishimi have Christmas, the Rishimi itself?
The Rishimo, this is after the Tzimtzum.
What does it have to do with ossiot?
The Rishimo is actually similar to this union of oasis. Of course, when we said there is a Tzimtzum, and the Tzimtzum eliminated the whole Gilui Oir, everything. What remained was just a statement, but there was a source to this. That's the Rishimo. That's the oasis. The oasis is this which remain after you become up. You're not able to grasp the thought directly. Now this oil, because this oil went to the Rishim, that's the oil that ultimately is present in the whole Seder Hishtalshelus. And thus in this oil there's an inherent element of oasis. What is the element of oasis? The element of oasis is that yes, indeed, this is oil yosher, but it has this coarseness in it that it can be grasped, and it has a means by presenting itself. It means to present itself in a strange environment. There cannot be a more adept way of presenting something in a strange environment than oasis, because oasis is the bottom line. Of Metzius. You don't need to know anything in order to learn a noise. It's called in Zohar Evan, a stone. There is no prerequisites for oasis. Okay.
This ore, as it comes through the Rishimoi, this is the ore of the highest of the keilim, or this is the
No. This is not.
Slavit?
This is not the highest of the keilim. The highest of the keilim is directly into the keilim. But there is the oil that forms the keilim. That what is the keilim made for? To represent an oil. This is not the highest. It's me. Okay. This is called his avus ha'oir, the thickening or the coarsening out of the oir. Why is it called his avus ha'oir? Maybe I'll really explain it. Because the oir, in and of itself, in its true and real self-identity, doesn't need oasis. Like you said, if you ask the host, the chosen, what are you doing here? You are completely out of kilter. Nonetheless, there is a coarseness that was inherent, embedded in the oil as a result of its passing through the Rishim.
What's the meaning of passing through the Rishim?
Passing through the Shema because there was a tzimtzum. Tzimtzum removed all oil, but only remaining was the Rishim. We discussed that in Shema. And then the oil was again reintroduced. But this time it was reintroduced not purely directly from its source, but to go through the tzimtzum element, go through the filter of the Rishim.
This is the kav which is somehow affected by it as Rishim.
Yes. This is called Hisabus O'er. So when we can, okay. This is the conclusion of the Inyan. And this is what is meant by the Pasuk. The Pasuk says, HaChochma me'ayin timotzi. HaChochma me'ayin timotzi. The Chochma me'ayin timotzi. Timotzi means is found. Found means you find something that you didn't expect to stumble upon. Because you are in a state where you say, Ayin, there is none, there is nothing. And all of a sudden, something pops up. And this pipe up, this is the Chochma. This is the Chochma that permeates the entire Seder Hishtalshelus. Now, let's say the next few words and then. Haina bechinas kli hachochma. Chochma mi'ayin timotzi refers to not the oir hachochma, but the kli hachochma. You cannot stumble upon oir hachochma. Typically, if you walk in the street and you stumble upon something, no matter what it is, what is the means by which you identify, you first stumble upon it? Oh, I found that $100 bill, or I found a piece of paper. What?
$100 bill. Oh, that's getting wacky.
Okay.
I missed the
What do you first stumble upon? The paper element, or its inscription, or its value? When you find a diamond,
So you don't know what it is until you
how do you find it first? How do you find it? What is the first recognition? There is something there. It's a rock, piece of stone. And then you realize, hey, this is not a plain stone. But this stone has a value. We had the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yosef Goldberg. He is the father of Rabbi Goldberg of in Hadar HaTorah. He's the father of many Goldbergs. There was a Yeshiva in France, in Brunois. This man was in constant debate and something thought of what he was learning. You could see his eyes were coming. So he was observed walking, and he was stumbling upon a tree. So he didn't look what it was. He just moved by and said, "Excuse me." Continue to go.
That was before cell phones.
Entschuldigt. This is what we say, the Chochma may Ayin Timotzi. If it surfaces from Ayin, it is because it is talking about the Kli HaChochma, the presence of the Chochma. That's what you stumble upon. Not the Oir HaChochma. Oir HaChochma you don't stumble upon. The his havusa bibchinas ein aroich. This kli hachochma, this chochma ayin timotzi, is created, comes in a manner bibchinas ein aroich, in an ein aroich manner. Ein aroich means not comparable to the source where it's coming from, not in proximity. Thus, this is like yesh mi'ayin. Yesh mi'ayin, we'll still discuss, but in a sense, yesh mi'ayin means that essentially its underpinning, its basis is ayin. If its basis is ayin, so what is it standing upon? It's standing upon the fact that it has a yeshus. It has a presence, but this presence is kind of a meaningless presence. That's a yesh. I'm here. That's what keilim is Ayin Timotzi, because keilim is like more yesh mi'ayin. Yesh mi'ayin means that the whole mitzvah, the whole thing that you have here is the yeshus, rather than the message and the meaning of what it is. This is like you go around and the wedding asks, "What are you doing here?" How do you know he's doing here anything? Who are you talking to? You're talking to a yesh. Somebody is here. Something is here. Try to identify what it is. Tammuz b'chinas ein areich. Areich כמו יש מאין. וכמו כן בכל הכלים בעשר ספירות אצילus. This is true regarding all the keilim of Eshes Sfirat Atzilus. If Kli HaChochma is like that, sure all other keilim are like that they are keilim are yesh me'ayin. Which means that primarily keilim they lack the brightness of the source, the brightness of the eloquence. Their presence in what they are effectively insisting on, I'm here. Just like ossiot letters stand for nothing until you formulate and make it a keilim, and the main thing in the keilim is what the keilim represents, not the keilim itself. Still remains only yesh. All right. This will be it for this morning. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
La 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 ya